Welcome back to Papa Bear Studio in Duryea, Pennsylvania. I have the honor, privilege, and pleasure of having Tom Austin in the studio with me. Tom Austin has some stories to tell you that your jaw's going to drop. It's incredible. We're here working on a Royal Teens project, a new CD that you're going to be putting out soon, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you don't know who the Royal Teens are, you got to remember the song Short Shorts. I think it was even in a commercial back in the day.
It was the Nair commercial. It's in the Jersey Boys show.
Jersey Boys.
Yeah. And it's the theme song for the Tonight Show in Japan, which is called the Tamori Club.
How about that?
How about that?
So, what was the commercial for that? It was
Nair. For the
Nair, that's what it was. Yeah. So how did that all come about? The Royal Teens, even?
Well, the Nair commercial?
No, the song, the band, everything. Because I think you were in a band with somebody.
Well, the Royal Teens originally started off in 1956. Bob Gaudio and I were playing. My name's Tom Austin. Bob Gaudio and I were playing in a band together in Hackensack. We didn't know each other until we got in this band. It was Joe Durante's band. And we were playing there around, we were the youngest guys in the band. And something happened where we weren't happy with the band, and we decided to go it alone. And we put together a group. We called ourselves the Royals back then. But we had, on tenor sax, we had a fellow named Billy Crandall who played with us. He was only 14 years old. I think I was 17. Bobby was either 15 or 16. And we got Billy Dalton from Fort Lee. And Billy was about going on 17 too. He's a great guitar player. But what's interesting about, everybody knows about Bob Gaudio, but what they don't know is Billy Crandall. Now Billy Crandall changed his name and he became Buddy Randall. Buddy Randall started a group called the Knickerbockers, and they had a big hit called Lies. Lies, lies, can't believe a word you say. Someday you're gonna be. A lot of people know that song. So in that group we had Bob Gaudio, Billy Crandall, myself, and Billy Dalton. And then we started playing, and one night we were playing at a place called Holy Trinity CYO. And that was in a town called Coatesville, New Jersey. And Coatesville was the north end of Fort Lee, New Jersey. At that time it was the borough of Fort Lee, but the little town of Coatesville, that's where I grew up, in that little town. And we were playing at Holy Trinity CYO, and there was a group came in there who had a hit record locally called Blanche, and that was done by the Three Friends. And I took a walk one day with Blanche along the avenue of love and romance, etc. And they had us play backup for the Three Friends. Now the Three Friends lead singer was a guy named Joe Villa, terrific singer. About a year and a half after we started the Royal Teens, ultimately Joe joined our group and became our lead singer on Believe Me and Talk of the Town. I think he was on Harvey's Got a Girlfriend too. But anyway, Joe, who already had a recording contract with a guy named Leo Rogers in New York at 1650 Broadway, said, we're going into a session, meaning the Three Friends were going into a session. Would you guys back us up at a recording session? And we said, sure, we'll do. Oh, we were all excited, you know. So we go into New York, and their manager really liked us, and he used us as a workhorse for about a year. We were playing, there was a great doo-wop record out by the Corvells called We Made a Vow, and on the other side was Miss Jones. We did that. We did a thing called Black Coffee. He had about 6 or 8 acts, Leo, a stable of acts, the manager, and we played for everyone. Well, one night, well, actually before that, Bobby and I decided, why don't we get our turn at bat? We better write some songs. So Bobby came up with an idea for an instrumental song, and he came up with a melody, and we were working on it, you know, talking about it. And one day we're driving up Washington Avenue in Bergenfield, New Jersey, in my brand new 1957 red and white Ford Fairlane 500, Mercury Cruiser skirts on it. You know, I think I had Oldsmobile hubcaps, the spinners on the front. Oh, it was a gorgeous car. And we're driving up, looking cool, going up Washington Avenue in Bergenfield. And 2 girls come out of Lumen's candy store. And they had cut off jeans, but their cutoffs were way, way up there. Now, we didn't know what they called them. I didn't even know they called them cutoffs. So I said, Bobby, you know that song we're going to do, that instrumental you're working on? Let's call that thing Short Shorts. Okay, we'll call it Short Shorts. That's a good name. You think they'll let us play it on the radio? Because it was kind of risque just saying Short Shorts. So
back then, right?
What happened was we got our turn at bat to go in and record it. So we go in and we lay the music track down, and it was really good. And the manager said, "Okay, good. Now we're going to overdub the voices. Where's the words?" I said, "What do you mean words? We don't have no words." He said, "You got to have words. Who put out a song like this? What do you think? You're Dwayne Eddy, you know? You come up with some words." So we went into the men's room. I said, "Let me do the whistle." You see, I can still whistle. And Billy Dalton went bram bram on his guitar, and Billy Crandall said, "Man, dig those crazy chicks," and boom, and that was the start of it. And we said, "How about Who Wears Short Shorts?" And then there were girls there. We said, "Can you girls sing We Wear Short Shorts?" Yeah, we'll do it for you. And that's how it started.
That's great. Now, for those who might not be familiar with his name, you're talking about this guy named Bobby.
Bob Gaudio.
Bob Gaudio is known for.
When the Royal Teens, when I got drafted in the Army in about 1961, because the record came out in 1958, Bobby. First let me go back to the Royal Teens. Bob Gaudio, the Four Seasons, he also produced Neil Diamond, and he did most of Neil Diamond's great stuff. And also, he's now producing a Neil Diamond musical that's going to Broadway. They don't even have a name for that musical yet, but look out for it. Neil Diamond's musical. Bobby's been with Neil Diamond for several years. He worked for Motown. He had tons of hits. And he was working with a guy called Charlie Calello. Now, everybody never heard of Charlie Calello. However, 95% of all Four Seasons hit records were arranged by Charlie Calello. He also did Sweet Caroline for Neil Diamond, The Name Game, Lightning Striking Again for Lou Christie, After the Lovin' for Engelbert, Connie Francis tunes. Juice Newton. He worked with Sinatra. He worked with everybody. And I want to show you something. I just finished Charlie Calello's new book. I did the writing. Charlie told the story. It's called Another Season, A Jersey Boy's Journey with the Four Seasons and Beyond. It's the true story of the Four Seasons, their recording sessions, how it all went. It's how he and I met on the road when we were doing promotion for Short Shorts, and he was doing this. The whole back of this book, that's only two of the pages. It goes on. He had 39 top 10 hit records.
Incredible.
And he had over 100 chart songs.
The beat goes on, right?
Charlie Calello, and nobody recognizes his name. But I can guarantee you that, first of all, there's not one curse word in the whole book. There's a lot of personal things in there, but there's a lot more personal things about the real backstage story of the Four Seasons in this book.
That's great. Make sure you guys pick it up. Where can they get it?
They can get it from the big coloring book company in St. Louis or Amazon. They can order it through Barnes & Noble. I'd rather have you buy it from the coloringbooks.com. Go to bigcoloringbooks.com because we'll make more money. Simple as that. But it just came out a couple of months ago, and it's really doing well. And there's comments from everybody, from Lou Christie to Connie Francis.
I can't wait to dig into it myself.
Oh, you're going to love it. First tour out as the Royal Teens, when we had Short Shorts, was with Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Bill Haley and the Comets, Jerry Lee Lewis, and the Everly Brothers. And we toured with them for about 3 weeks in Florida. The next tour we were on was with, the headliner was Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, Paul Anka, Frankie Avalon. It was the biggest show of stars of 1958.
Wow.
And not Connie Francis, but Jimmy Rogers was on it. And Joe Villa by that time had joined our group, and Joe was terrific singer. He's still out there doing the doo-wop circuit, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's getting up there. I'm going to be 80 this year, and Joe's a year or two older than I am.
I would have never guessed this guy's almost 80 years old. Never.
November I'm 80,
Unbelievable. Quite the drummer, too. You should hear him.
Well, thank you. thanks to this guy, I had a tough day. He put me through the paces. John would work me out. I was ready to go home and go to bed, and he says, hey, wait, we got to do Papa Bear's studio.
Well, I just can't wait for my audience to get a hold of a copy of this book.
Yeah.
But in here, I see a song that was by Bruce Springsteen. You were telling me quite the story about Bruce Springsteen just a little while ago.
That's a true story. Most of you people who like doo-wop, you probably know Vito Picone from the Elegants. Well, Vito Picone has always, for as long as I've known him, we all call him the mayor of Staten Island, actually. But he's always had a television show down in Staten Island. And one night he asked me, we're going back about 10, 15 years ago. One night he asked me, Tom, would you bring the Royal Teens down to Staten Island? I want to interview you on the air and play your records and things. And I said, oh, thanks, Vito. I'd be really happy to do that, you know. Vito also booked us at the San Gennaro Feast in New York City in Little Italy, you know. Luckily, we had a lot of Italians in the group at that time, and we managed to get out of there and really do good. But we went down there to do Vito Picone's show. That night, some guy comes out of the audience. His name was Dave the Rave Kopulski. And Dave the Rave is from Freehold, but he had a Dave the Rave radio show. And he came, and he's very close friends of the Bruce Springsteen group and all that kind of stuff. Very often they would ask Dave, can you bring over some of those old records? Dave has a tremendous collection of records, mostly that aren't the #1 sides, the B-sides. Mm-hmm. He's really into that. So he said to me that night at Vito's television show, he says, you know who's dying to meet the Royal Teens? I said, who? He said, Bruce Springsteen. He said, Bruce loves Jersey bands. I said, yeah, sure. He needs us like a hole in the head. Why would he even want to say hello to us, right? So Dave said, no, I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you the truth. I said, and you know, I didn't know Dave at that time. So I was playing him along, you know, thinking he was playing me along. So he said, I'm going to call you in 2 weeks. He said, Bruce and the E Street Band, they're going to be down in the Meadowlands playing at the arena. And I'll get you 2 tickets. I know Bruce will give you 2 tickets and a backstage pass. And I went, oh, yeah, that's for sure, right? I said to myself, that's never going to happen. But I said, I'll go along with it. So we go down to the arena that night. And, of course, we were asked to go to the Will Call window. So I go to the Will Call window, and there's Dave there. And he said, hey, Tom, come here. You know, he says, come on over here. You know, I got the tickets for you. Here, put this on. This is the backstage passes. I said, I can't believe this. This is crazy. So he said, come on, I'll show you where your seats are. Well, we were in the first row, where we would have to look like this to see Bruce Springsteen about 7 feet above us. He was sweating on us. I said, #1, I had never seen a Bruce Springsteen show. And I was amazed. He was like a couple of hours on stage, and he wouldn't quit. He's going. So after the show, of course, we had the backstage passes on, so we go down, I think it was downstairs at the Meadowlands, and that's where the dressing rooms were and everything. So we go downstairs, you know, and frankly, they had more people backstage at Bruce's concert than we had in our concerts. You know, we must have had 50, 80 people in backstage.
That's great.
So, to be honest with you, I didn't meet Bruce Springsteen that night, but I did meet the drummer, Max Weinberg. Yeah. And Max came out Dave said, hey, these are the oh man, that's great. Max said, but you know, while I was sitting in the audience, I looked at how Max set up his drums and everything, and I said, gosh, that looks so familiar to me. And just a comment, I didn't know what to say to Max. I said, you know, Max, I set my drums up a little like you do, you know, even though he's righty and I'm lefty. The angle of the tom-toms and things, you know. And he said, Tom, he said, I play the drums like you. You're not playing like me. He said, I only wanted to learn how to play drums from 50s and 60s drummers. I had no interest, 70s, 80s, none. I did all my drumming based on 50s and 60s, and I love short shorts. I said, you love short shorts, you know? He said, yeah, you know why? I said, no, I don't know why. He said, my sister had a collection of records when I was a little boy, and the only record she would let me play on was short shorts. I guess she didn't like that record, and she let me use it all the time. So that's part one of the end of this story. As long as can I talk some more?
Sure.
So here's what happens. I go home bragging that Max Weinberg said to me that he took after all the 50s drummers and all that, right? So I have two sons, Tommy and Michael, and Michael was out at Penn State. He was going to Penn State at the time. Actually, I have a blue and white striped shirt.
You do?
Penn State color. So about a year and a half later, Michael calls me up and he said, Dad, you know, I have a girl I want to take to the Bryce Jordan Center. Bruce Springsteen's coming out this weekend to play there. And I went and I tried to get tickets for that, but I couldn't get them. So call up your friend Bruce and tell him we need a couple of seats.
your buddy.
I said, well, Michael, you see, he really, you know, I'm going hamada, you know. He said, no, Dad, come on. What were you telling me a lie? Well, you know, you said you knew the guy. I said, well, I didn't, you know. I went like this. So that was the end of the conversation. But, you know, as a father, you do whatever you can to try to impress your kids and please your kids. So I called up Dave, the guy, Dave the Rave Kapolsky. And what I did was I called Dave up and I said, Dave, you know, I said, it's me, Tom. I said, you know, I don't know. I know you can't do this, but we need a couple of tickets to the Bruce Springsteen's out there. But I know you don't have any connections. What do you mean I don't have connections? He said. Let me make a phone call, see what I can do. He calls me back and he said, you know, I think it was Max Weinberg, but he's got 2 tickets. Ask for him at the Will Call window. We got 2 tickets for Michael. The only problem is little Stevie's there, and he's got all those Sopranos fans, so your son's got to sit with the Soprano people. Is that okay? I said, is that okay?
Oh, darn it, right?
Darn well, I look like a hero. That was
sure.
it.
All because of short shorts.
All because of short shorts.
See that? So much happens because of short shorts.
Yeah.
That's so great. So the Royal Teens are actually playing together.
We're playing again. This is our latest edition, and our newest. We have some wonderful players with us. We got Frank Jekyll and Glenn Lewis from the 1910 Fruit Gum Company playing with us. Yeah. I got John Serio, who plays all the time with the Belmonts. He's a fabulous tenor sax player. We got Diane Montano Tiberi. She's a great lead singer. And we got a genius on keyboard. That's Nick Civic. And, of course, I'm playing drums, you know, and I'm doing all I can to hang in with these guys. They're a lot younger than me. But we've got a few jobs lined up. If anybody wants us, we're out there ready to play. And we actually rehearsed for the better part of a year so that the band is really tight. We're ready to go.
That's great.
We played in Fort Lee twice in the last month and a half, and it went over well. On August 25th, we'll be in Asbury Park at McClune Supper Club. But you have to buy tickets to McClune Supper Club. So there's some seats that you can get there. It's going to be a wonderful night. We're going to do about 25 songs that night.
That's awesome.
And so that's my story.
And I hear you have a CD that you might be putting out pretty soon too, right?
John's request. Why we're here.
Some new material, right?
Yeah, we got some new material. Yeah.
Brand new material.
I wrote a few things, yeah. See if I can do it one more time.
There you go.
As Count Basie said, one more time.
Awesome. Well, Tom, thanks for coming.
I'm so happy to be here.
Telling the world about it. And don't forget, everybody, the book. Where can they get this book again?
You can get it at Amazon.
Another Season.
Or you can get it at right on the back here. It says Really Big Coloring Books. That's where to go. That's where to call them up in St. Louis. Really Big Coloring Books. Or Google them. Google coloringbooks.com or reallybigcoloringbooks.com.
This is going to be an amazing read.
This is an amazing read. Yes, it is. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for stopping by Papa Bear Studio. We'll see you next time.